about logistics and supply chain, and mainly we're going to see how technology can help to boost your productivity. We're going to focus. It's a focus on technology this morning. It's a series of webinars that we're organizing. Today is about logistics and supply chain. Just from a logistical perspective, we're going to have about 30-minute presentation, and we're going to have about 15-minute to 20-minute questions at the end of the webinar. So thank you for joining us today. And what we're gonna talk about today. So some of the current challenges you're probably already familiar with. We're going to do a quick market scan to look at what other companies in the supply chain and logistics, what are they doing? And we're going to talk about and give you a demo about some of the solutions that can be that revolutionize and change completely the way you do business and save a lot of time and obviously cost as well. Namely, that smart data capture, that enterprise content management and document management, and robotic process automation. We're going to show you some examples of each of these solutions so it becomes more tangible, more close to you. And we're going to end this presentation with how and where to start, okay? So some of the challenges you're probably facing now, if you are in the logistics business, there is obviously a driver shortage. There's obviously a driver shortage in the industry. And when you have a shortage of something, you actually need to make sure that you leverage that resource as much as possible and not waste a lot of time. One of the recent stories I heard is actually very painful. So drivers drive to the border, they have to fax document, they have to wait for document, they have to find where to fax a document. Those are typically very wasteful challenges. So driver shortage is one of the areas. And that's second one is obviously in any business is a customer service and retention. So you need to have a quality customer service, and you obviously need to retain your customers in order to be sustainable from a business perspective. Supply chain visibility, those are three last one we're going to focus on in some of the solution that will help you with the last three ones, which is supply chain visibility. Customers are asking for visibility. Do you want to see where their merchandise, where the cargo is, what time it arrives? They want to access to that document very quickly, so they don't need to. Those are streamlined processes that can make a huge difference from a customer service perspective. Convoluted business processes. People are still keying data in manually. People are still doing tasks manually, like generating invoices, like reminding customers, like following up on proof of deliveries. All of those tasks are very manual. They're very costly from an operation perspective. And with technology, those can be extremely streamlined. And obviously, we're talking about, when we talk about cost, we talk about labor, we talk about space. I also recently visited a customer of ours that we helped with their digitizations of their processes. And when I walked into that the building, there was a big room full of binders, and each time a person is looking for a document, they will have to go. Sometimes even they have a ladder. You take the ladder, they go up, grab the binder, search for the document. Can you imagine how much risk and time and space is being wasted as a result of that? Those practices and those ways of doing business were part of the past, but they still exist in some companies, which means there are still some a lot of room for improvement and for boosted productivity. So let me just talk about, I said initially I'm going to do a market scan, just look at some of the technologies that are being used currently. Internet of Things. You probably heard of it. It's basically a bunch of devices that are connected. What you see is, you see now you can track a truck, a cargo, or shipment anywhere through a small RFID a sensor that you put on that cargo, and you can have full visibility on that cargo or full visibility on that shipment. That's something that became very possible with having easy access to Wi-Fi. We're using mobiles. Drones are being used in some of the areas as well, in some of the warehouses, to be able to manage and to track inventory. GPS, obviously, it's one of the things that we have seen for the last probably 15, 20 years that's being used and still being used. Demand and inventory forecasting. One of the areas that really boosted productivity and boosted accuracy from a forecasting perspective, it's called machine learning. Machine learning is basically a modeling. It's a model with the rise of technology that allows you to forecast in a very accurate way. From demand perspective, you are asked to forecast your inventory, and that's a technology that's extremely powerful with AI as well. And I'm going to touch more on it as we move through this webinar. Some people are using robot. The two areas that we're going to focus on a lot today is one, it's called business process automation, and namely robotic process automation. What's robotic process automation is you hear a lot people call it RPA. What does that mean? It means that it's a machine that's basically can imitate, it can replicate a repetitive task that a human being is doing. Example, you have customers, you generate invoices, and there's a person, man or woman, are generating those customer invoices either on a daily basis or weekly or a monthly basis. You can completely automate that task with accuracy, with like 100% accuracy using RPA. So their RPA is going to imitate exactly that repetitive task, and is going to go to all invoice to our customer to be invoiced, and it will generate those invoices. Another example is you probably have collections, and you collect when you have sent an invoice, any invoice that's due, you want to collect it, you want to send an email notification. Instead of doing it manually, RPA will allow you to do that, again, very accurately, and just send notification and follow up on those due invoices. Something else that you probably heard of as well is business processes management. So in order to apply RPA or any type of business process, you probably need to map out your process. And that's something we can help you with as well. What that does that mean is just understand what are the different steps that process go through. So for example, if I'm generating an invoice, I'm looking at the proof of delivery, I'm generating an invoice, then I'm sending that to a customer. When I map that out, it'll be easier to basically apply RPA on. Another big element from a cost perspective. Remember, I mentioned earlier that when I visited that customer with a big space being occupied by document. So now digitization of document and managing that information, and most importantly, having access to that information, whether it's you, whether it's the customer, whether it's your peer, having easy access to that information and being able to leverage it. Because information in the document that's unstructured, that's sitting somewhere that we're going to need it, we're going to use it only when needed, it's probably you're needing only 20% of the value. If you're using only 20% of the value of that document. What you really want is, you probably heard of it as well, data is the new oil. So you want to be able to leverage that data in those documents. And in order to do so, it has to be accessible, which means I can access my information from anywhere, from my mobile, from my desktop, from home, wherever I am, I need to have access to that information. And that's something, there is three main technologies that are in this space that are very common in this space. One is enterprise content management. It's a smart system that allows you to manage your content electronically. Even if that document comes physical. So when you scan it, it's being what we call it OCR'd, which means capturing that data from that document and making sure that that information is accessible. Okay. Another thing that workflows. You have a package, you have a document, you have an invoice, you have an order. If it does flow through some kind of workflow, like for example, it goes to the controller for a first approval, or it goes to the operation director for a second approval. That approval process, it's called workflow, it can be automated as well. So, and basically when the information and the document is electronic, the person, when that next person receives that document, you don't have to move the document like you do physically, that the document travels from one person in an electronic way to another, and that person can view it, can sign it electronically, and can share it with other folks as well if needed. Another technology that's very, very helpful in this space is what we call smart data capture. Smart data capture, what it means is basically takes a document, whether it's PDF, whether it's physical document, and extract the data from it electronically. So you don't have to look at a document like an invoice. I want to see the amount of that invoice. I want to see which vendor was it or which customer. I want to see what's the load number. That information is typically the invoice, but you can't really use it until some human being read it. What a smart data capture does, it goes to document and extracts all that data for you. And when you look for invoices for that specific vendor, that specific customer, it's easy to pull out. So it's not a human being that's doing it, but it's actually software-based technology that allows you to extract that data automatically. Obviously, the last one we're going to talk about is business intelligence. That data, when you have it, the only way to leverage it is be able to report on it, to have dashboards, to have indicators, and to have access to it. And with the technology, with AI recently, you can have a lot of meaningful good decisions being made based on that data. So so I said there three main solutions I'm going to show you quickly in the demo today. Smart data capture, how you extract data from your document electronically. Again, it's not a human being intervention, but it's a software-based. Enterprise content management and workflows, and we're going to look at RPA as well. I'm going to also show you a video from it's from DHL, just to show you what RPA can be used for. Okay, so how does smart data capture work? So let's say you have a document on your mobile. You're a driver, you have a proof of delivery. So typically you grab that proof of delivery and you drive it, and when you drive back, you put that proof of delivery, and you give it to your head office with the person in charge. Instead of doing so, you can actually take a picture, hit send. That proof of delivery is gone and can be centralized automatically in your document management system. It can automatically notify the person in charge to do whatever. So because sometimes we use proof of deliveries, obviously, to invoice, and you can use that for invoicing. Now, let's say I get a document, but it's physical. If that document is physical, so which means I have it in a space somewhere, I need to scan it, and that's something you can use scan. So our solution, just open a quick bracket in here. For example, our solution, we can manage scanners as well. So it's linked directly to a scanner. I can capture the document from a scanner, from a fax, or I can capture document from emails. So emails, again, RPA is very helpful in this way. I get a bunch of documents in email. What I want is, when I get those documents, I want to extract the data from those documents, and I want to send that document to be able to generate and to initiate whatever process, whether I want, business process, whether it's generating a new invoice, whether it's sending the customer documentation to the customer. Well, you can do those when you get that document via email. So you configure your email and you get that. So we can also use what we call web forms or online forms to capture data. And that can be done for a customer, like the customer just click on a form on your website and he can send you whatever order, document that's needed or information that you're going to need to generate and to initiate that process. When you get the document, there is another step, which is the second step. These are the sources of document that are coming in. And that can be applied to what we call structured and non-structured. What does a structure mean? The structured document meaning it's the same process that it's the same document that has a similar format. Non-structured document is a document that it changes in format. And what you want is smart data capture that can capture that data regardless if it's structured or non-structured. But even if the format changes, it's not an OCR per zone, like we say. Well, OCR is capturing data per zone. So if that zone changes automatically, you need to redo the configuration. But rather, you want a smart system that whether that data is on the top, on the left, on the right, whatever it is in that document, you'll be able to capture that data, okay? And that's where the OCR with machine learning, combined with machine learning, is very, very accurate. And here we're talking about over 99% accuracy rate, okay? And when you have that data, then you can leverage it using, like I said before, workflows. You can have dashboards, you can have data analysis, and it becomes really, really powerful, okay? Okay, we're just a little bit about smart data capture. Smart data capture is you can scan documents, you can basically replaces manual data entry. That's one thing. So if you have human that key in data manually, it can be replaced by smart data capture. The second thing is, and that's typically for proof of delivery invoices. If you have accounting department, they key in invoices. Those are data entry tasks that are manual, that have most likely errors in them. And another thing that software can do is verify and check for errors, making sure that there is no errors in that invoice or that data that you're paying, that invoice that you're paying or that data that you're collecting, okay? It also allows you to sort documents. You don't have to classify documents manually, like a human person being able to basically take in documents, sorting them. This is a customer invoice. This is a proof of delivery. The software can do an automated classification of document for you. We have recently developed, just open another bracket. We opened with a customer of ours in the logistics industry in Mississauga. We actually we managed to put what we call a multi-scan type solution. So you have load sheets and it's load binders, and each binder has a bunch of documents, whether it's customer invoice, whether it's proof of delivery, whatever it is. And we put a multi-scan that allows them to scan multiple binders at the same time. On the software, will automatically extract the data, will sort the document and split them, and put them in the right structure that the customer wants. And that's something very powerful about smart data capture. So it's not just about OCR and getting the data from the document, but actually sorting those documents, putting that data in the right structure, meaning I want to create a folder for 2021, and I want to call for the software to create another folder for that month, specific month. All of that can be done by smart data capture, okay? And it can be also linked to an external database, because sometimes, and often is the case, you have information, you have a vendor, but you have other information about that vendor in your ERP, on your system. A good smart data capture system allows you to externally connect to that external database and be able to have a bi-directional data exchange between your system and the data that being captured. And that's what you see on what's one of the biggest pluses of smart data capture. Some examples we did in the logistics: bills of ladings, invoices, proof of deliveries, load sheets. all those have been digitized using our smart data capture. Okay, so that's one solution. The second solution is you hear about, some people call it intelligent document management systems. Some people call it enterprise content management system, ECM. What it does is it's basically an intelligent system that allows you to manage all your content electronically. So initially I talked about drivers. You can collect via mobile from a mobile of a driver. You can collect data, and you can collect also like proof of deliveries or any type of document. And that flows directly to your ECM, meaning when it flows to your ECM, you can be able to access that information wherever you are. You don't have to wait for the driver to come back to be able to access that information. But actually, as soon as the information is submitted, it's gone to your ECM, and you can manage that documentation. You can set up workflows. So when that document comes in, you want it to flow it to one person in accounting, for example, to review it. You can do that easily, and that's the system would automatically do that, and it will send that notification to the customer. You can easily access the information and find it. And you can also sign document electronically as well. I'm going to open a quick bracket about 2 minutes just to show you an example of our solution, how this can be done. But so this is an example of our solution. We have an invoice number, and in that invoice you have, when it comes in, you can see the invoice. You can see all the data that was captured using OCR and smart data capture in here. Obviously, this data you can complete it with an ODBC, like I said, with an external database connection. You can have a workflow. You see in here, I have 3 workflows. I have 3 persons involved in the workflow. I'm just going to switch this one back to English. You have multiple. The solution is multi-language. Each user can work with his own language. It doesn't impact at all the other users. And you can easily find information. Let's say I want to find something. I would just start keying, and basically the information is going to show up, or that document that I'm looking for is going to show up. So it's easily, I can click on this, and the documents will show up. I can do the verification as I was telling you about, the workflow, and also I have a full history. If I want to see what happened to that document, who downloaded it, who viewed it, I have a full history of this. I can also sign it if I want. A signature, I want to sign it electronically, I can sign it. I can attach file to it. And the other thing that comes with ECM is permissions. So you can manage permissions. So it's very secure. If you don't want somebody to look at something, you're the one driver on the driver's seat. So you manage the permission the way you want them. You can give access, obviously, to your peers, whoever work on that document. You can give access to customers. You can give access to vendors. You can even make this one, for example, for vendor to drop in their invoices or their customer documentation. So ECM has been used extensively last 5, probably 10 years. It's extremely helpful. It's very powerful. Allows you to manage all your content electronically. You can access it from anywhere. You can always launch workflows, and you also have notification that automatically goes to the right person. So I just wanted to open this quick bracket just to show you, give you a quick view of the solution. You can also, what's cool about it as well, you can I'm not sure if other platform have this, but I can work from my computer, work in Windows or Excel or whatever, and automatically, I don't have to upload the document manually to the system. It automatically it's being uploaded to the system, and you can access that document let's say you're somewhere else and you don't have your computer where the document is stored, you can just connect to the server, to the system and access to that document. That means it can be done by a driver, by a customer, by a vendor, or by a peer as well. So that's just a quick demo. If you guys are interested by a more advanced demo, happy to do so. Please reach out to us and we'll be able to do a fully personalized demo. We do personalized demo. That means is we have a quick discovery call. We see where you want to see, what are the pain point that you guys are looking at, or the challenge that you're facing, that you're trying to solve. And we do that, and we do have a discovery call, and we personalize the demo for your need. So I'm going to go back to the slides. So that's a quick demo about the ECM, just to give you an idea about the ECM. Okay, so we get to another concept, another technology. So we talked so far about smart data capture. We talked about ECM, enterprise content management. We talked about workflows. And another one, we're talking about robotic process automation. This is, it's a game changer, to be quite honest. It's going to change a lot of things that we do. It's increasing its speed in implementation, so it's being used more and more. If you're not exploring this I will highly recommend this and start looking into it, because it's extremely powerful. What it does is you can, like I said, imitate the human behavior and launch a lot of things that can be done in an automated way and accurately, like generated customer invoices, like processing AP invoices. When you get AP invoices, most likely you get them in reception or you get them in an email, and then after that it flows to accounting, and the accountant has to start keying them in the system, and sometimes they verify them against the POs. There is a purchase order. Does it match? Does not match? Those tasks can be done by RPA. So the system can capture the data using smart data capture. The verification can be done, and we send a notification. If by any chance there is an issue with an invoice, you can notify the right folks and people that are involved in that process, whether it's the vendor, whether it's the accountant, or whatever. You can also issue credit collections using RPA. You can email, say, and this is another example. Okay, for example, from RPA. Anytime there is a file that come in, you want the process to start. You don't need a person to start looking and say, well, did we receive this, to start to initiate the process, but RPA can initiate it automatically. So as the file comes in, dropped in a specific folder or an email received, it can trigger the process and allows it to launch. This is where RPA is very powerful. You can automate scheduling, tracking, shipment, all of those using what we call RPA, robotic process automation. One tool that we work a lot with, it's called Power Automate. So I'm going to show you an example with a quick video that my colleague Bia is going to show you. It's just mentioned. It just shows what DHL has done with robotic process automation, and we come back and we continue the.
Robots have been a boon to the supply chain, automating manual and tedious tasks and freeing employees to apply higher-level knowledge and skills to the production process. Robots are widely used at DHL, and not just in our warehouses. They're also being put to good use in our transport solutions, where they handle administrative and back-office tasks, freeing our associates to deliver even more value to our shippers. The most recent advancement is with robotic process automation, or RPA. RPA is an advanced technology that can be programmed to perform a series of defined processes to automatically handle high-volume, repeatable tasks. Think of RPA as a form of artificial intelligence, capable of automating a range of tasks. It works around the clock, accurately and rapidly processing transactions and speeding deliveries on their way. Thanks to RPA, customers with dynamic shipping requirements, like delivering materials to a work site, can expect more reliable deliveries. And customers with critical appointment scheduling needs, like retailers, can expect fewer deviations. While RPA works in the background, customers will recognize the benefits it creates, including enhanced reliability, accuracy, and consistency. Beyond building supply chain speed and accuracy, customers are relying on RPA to enable process improvement. It's elevating the role of their team members, moving them away from data entry and toward continuous improvement activities. DHL has long been on the cutting edge of innovative supply chain and transportation solutions. RPA is the latest tool that enables us to enhance our transportation solutions and think beyond today's shipment for our customers.
Okay, thanks, Bia. So I'm going to share my screen. Yeah, thanks, Bia, for this example. So this is just to show you what RPA does and how some of the companies are using it, namely DHL. So this is a video you can find obviously on YouTube as well. We will send you a copy of the presentation and we'll send you also a link to that video as well. So I'm just going to share my screen. So that being considered, so we looked at some of the challenges. We looked at that the industry is facing. We did a market scan and look at some of the technologies that are being used, whether it's using the Internet of Things, whether it's machine learning, whether it's smart data capture, enterprise content management, or RPA, as we talked about it and we saw this brief video. So where to start? I always invite customers and potential customers to look at their companies and look at the pain areas. Pain area, how can we characterize and identify a pain area? It's something that has manual task, so something that's being done repetitive and it's done by a human being. And that person is most likely is not happy about it anyway because they're doing something very manual. And you can move up to another quick question I get asked a lot. I mean, is this replacing a human being? Yeah, actually, one of the things I highly recommend, and I have seen it in every situation without any exception, you're actually not replacing a human being, but you can move that person to more value-adding tasks, to put in something that has more value, like looking at analysis and looking at driving the decision, putting up report together. That's something that's of a value for a business rather than keying data. So something that has manual, that has errors, that has risks. And we have seen it now with the pandemic, a lot of risks of infections. Those so handling, sorting document, those can be addressed and can be obviously addressed with using technology. So you want to identify where those pain areas. Obviously, you may find there are not one, you may find two or three, whatever. But I would always advise to start with one where the biggest the value of your investment, where you're going to get the low-hanging fruits, as we say in English. So look for that pilot area and start with, and when you get that pain point defined, well-defined, you may want to talk to somebody, the right provider, somebody in the technology, in this type of space that knows about the smart data capture, knows about technologies, knows about the industry, in order to be able to say, okay, what can be done in that specific situation? And typically that's free for us. We do it for free. We do that free consultation. So we tell you by looking at an area, we say, this is possible, this is possible, this is possible. And that, after that, if you think that's something of value to you and it's interesting to you, then we go ahead and we help you with with selecting the solution and show you, even do a demo, do proof of concept to show how the solution will work for you before you can go ahead and implement it. This is typical process we do. This is what I would recommend to do when you have a situation like a pain area to look at. But one of the things is always measure. I measure the baseline. So if it's taking me 6 days to process a specific task or a few hours to process a fixed task, see what happens after that when you implement the solution. So making sure, because that data is not only for you, but to showcase to say, okay, this solution allowed me to save this much space or this much time or this much cost, but also for your peers, because when you start moving from one department to another, obviously change management comes into the play, and you want to be able to showcase those. And that's a good, typically a good selling point to peers, to management, and to other folks as well, to even to customers and vendors, because sometimes you do extend into, you want a collaboration from your customers and vendors as well to adopt the technology, because that would save your life a lot easier. And remember, I talked initially about some of the challenges that retain customers. When you have streamlined processes, you would be able to retain those customers. And when customers see the value from your services, you'll be able, obviously, to retain them even further and generate more business. I think that was it for the presentation today. If you have, I said that, so if you have questions, we're going to open now the mic for questions. You can send them via message or via chat. So. Any questions? So you have the chat box is open, I believe, and you can send questions if you have any. So just one quick thing. So when you have, so these solutions, one of the questions that comes up often, these solutions work together. So when you have an RPA, that's sometimes based on, it works very closely with smart data capture, which means being able to capture the data. It works very closely with ECM as well, because that's where the platform where all the content is being generated. So these solutions work together. The times it takes, it does depend on your company and your process as well. Some of the process can be done within 2 days, 3 days. It can be implemented and you're fully operational. Sometimes it takes longer than a few days, but that's a question about the times it takes. And we're going to just give it one. So if there is any more questions, so we're going to, if there is no more question, we're going to end the meeting. So we'll give it one minute. So. Okay, I don't see any question. Thank you so much. Any more questions? Thank you so much for attending the webinar today.